What's up, everybody? GeauxBurns climbing back up on Mount Soapbox for yet another rant. Now, normally I revolve my rants around Grand Theft Auto Online, but on occasion I have been known to rant about other games that I have played or plan on playing somewhere down the road. Now, I've been wanting to rant about Watch Dogs for quite some time, but I've just never gotten around to it. Until the other day when one of my subscribers, Jordy, asked me if I was planning on playing the new Assassin's Creed game, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and doing YouTube videos of it. Now, my response to Jordy was that I'm possibly going to be doing the original Assassin's Creed in Throwback Thursday sometime this month. But at the moment, I have no plan of buying or playing Assassin's Creed Syndicate unless enough of you, my viewers, subscribers, and fans, want me to. So if you really want me to let's play Assassin's Creed Syndicate, let me know below in the comment section. Another factor will depend heavily on the overall reviews for Assassin's Creed Syndicate, because Ubisoft or however you pronounce their name has a history of rushing games out for a schedule. I realize they make some pretty good games, and I love the Assassin's Creed series. I played the first Assassin's Creed, I played Black Flag, that's still my favorite of all the Assassin's Creed games. And I heard there's a lot of issues with Unity, and I really hope that Syndicate ends up being a very successful and enjoyable installment in the Assassin's Creed series. So, over a year ago, I was Let's Playing Watch Dogs when it came out May 2014 for last and current gen consoles on the PlayStation 4. That's where I played it on. It was and still is a decent game. Obviously, I had to go back and replay it to get video for this rant, and it was a lot more fun than I remembered. But at the same time, there was some issues with Watch Dogs, which actually ties into the larger issue of gaming in general, or video games, the video game industry more specifically. So the first time we heard about Watch Dogs was in a reveal trailer that looked way better than it actually turned out being. And then, of course, I think there was a little bit of delays before it finally came out, but when it did, it generally got favorable reviews. And I mean, there's a little history repeating itself there with Assassin's Creed Syndicate. But the big difference is there is one reviewer I turn to now whenever it comes to video games, and he, in my opinion, is one of the best reviewers out there. He's on YouTube. His name is Carrick. His channel is Angry Centaur Gaming. I got it linked for you down in the description section. Feel free and check out his channel. It's really good. He does very in-depth and thorough reviews on a lot of games out there, AAA, indie, etc. He does an absolutely fantastic job when it comes to reviewing video games. So be sure and check out his channel, ACG. Now back on topic. So Watch Dogs wasn't as awesome looking or enjoyable as they made it out to be, but it still was okay. You had the protagonist, Aiden Pierce, a gray hat hacker, vigilante in Chicago. Chicago looked really nice, by the way, and there was a lot of really sweet mechanics. Okay, for one thing, the hacking element was cool. It was the shooting average, the driving sucked, and the multiplayer, yeah, that was a joke. I even did some Watchdog multiplayer racing for Racing Badly, my series that airs on Tuesdays and Thursdays back in May, June 2014. Then, of course, there's the story, which is kind of cliche. It's an average story at best. It has its moments, but other than that, it was okay. And then the replay factor, I would say, meh. Basically, Watch Dogs was trying to be a modern version of Assassin's Creed and, of course, Grand Theft Auto Online combined into one video game. That's just my opinion about Watch Dogs, but the real problems developed a few weeks later in June of 2014. In fact, two of my biggest videos on this channel to date, in the top 3, are because of this issue, the loading screen bug, which the first video netted 13,000 views. A few weeks later, Ubisoft, whatever soft, came out with a supposed patch, and I did a video about this as well for Watch Dogs, in which they claimed it fixed the loading screen bug problem. That video netted 12,000 views, because obviously a lot of people around the world were having serious issues with Watch Dogs when it came to the loading screen bug. But here's the part that really grinded my gears and left a bad taste in my mouth when it came to Ubisoft, whatever. Alright, so despite the fact they put out this patch, there were still people that were having problems. You know, weeks after the patch came out, months after the patch came out, years after the patch came out. Even comments going back to a month or 3 months ago. You can go to that video and you can see comments below. people complaining about the same problem that they supposedly fixed in June 2014 for Watch Dogs. In other words, they never fixed the problem completely. They never did. I don't know what happened there. They just dropped the ball and said, you know what, F it. We sold as many copies as we're going to for Watch Dogs. It didn't do as good as we hoped it was going to do. Okay, time to move on to another Assassin's Creed game. And it really does bug me because I was generally trying to help everybody out there that was having issues with their game by making these videos. And unfortunately, I can never find any more information, as far as I can tell, over the past year regarding resolution, ultimate fix to the loading screen issue. And obviously, there's a lot of angry comments in both of those videos, and some of them are directed at me. So yeah, it was extremely frustrating to go back to those videos and see all the comments complaining about Watch Dogs, because these people spent money buying this game. $60 in the US is probably cheaper now over in the UK and Europe, throughout the rest of the world, you know, wanting a good quality game, but what they got in return was a broken product from one of the biggest developers in the gaming industry. So that, in a nutshell, is a big reason why I'm very hesitant to do any Ubisoft or Ubisoft games on my gaming channel, because of that incident concerning Watch Dogs. The hype, the fact that it was not as good as it looked in these so-called trailers, and the broken issue with the loading screen bug. I mean, you think a company that spent that much money developing this game, millions and millions of dollars, would have fixed this issue before they moved on to their next product, to their next IP, to the next brand. And to be honest, guys, those of you playing Watch Dogs that have had this issue, that still have a loading screen bug issue, I honestly don't know if Ubisoft is ever going to fix this problem. It sucks. But as I've pointed out in comment sections, the best way to get back at Ubisoft or Ubisoft is to not buy any future products from them. And last year, they caught a hell of a lot of flack with Unity. That thing had serious bug issues, and a lot of people were pissed off at Ubisoft, not just because they were churning out Assassin's Creed games every year, just like Madden Football and all the other sports games over at EA. Some of them good, some of them not so much. Needless to say, thanks to Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed Unity, Ubisoft got a lot of negative PR because of their FUBARs in both instances. So you can pretty much see why I'm very hesitant to go out and buy the next Assassin's Creed game. Now, I like the setting in Victorian London. It looks cool. It looks very promising. And I honestly hope that Ubisoft, whatever soft, actually has a really good game on their hands when it comes to Assassin's Creed Syndicate, because I loved Black Flag. I loved the original Assassin's Creed game, which I am featuring in a few weeks in Throwback Thursday. But in conclusion, the moral of this story here is to always vote with your wallet when it comes to video games. If there are good developers out there churning out excellent, good quality products, and you love their games, support them. But if there's bad companies out there that are pushing their developers to get a game out on a schedule, on a deadline, to hell with all the bugs or all the problems that that game may or may not have that might need a little bit more polishing, maybe a few more weeks or a few more months to get it right, those companies might not be worth giving your money to unless they come out with a game that redeems themselves. And I sincerely hope that that's the case with Assassin's Creed Syndicate.